I would like to welcome all of you here to this venue, to this group in which we will be debating emerging paradigms of socioeconomic development, paradigms which aim to transcend capitalism, and also the values and the practices which support it. And I would like to say also that besides guest speakers and the discussion of books, we will also have the chance of watching some very interesting documentaries about experiments that have been going on around the world, and which can be a great source of inspiration for us, because the ultimate goal of this group is not just to discuss solidarity economy in theory and also in practice, but also to promote ideas aimed at creating practical alternatives here in New Orleans to capitalist production. The goal is actually to create projects based on emerging paradigms, solidaristic paradigms of economic production, financing, and commercialization, which can be applied here in the New Orleans area and in Louisiana. Thank you.
What are you going to do?
Oh, of course, I'm sorry. And I would like to introduce to you Mrs. Gretchen Zalkind from the NOLA TimeBank, who is going to tell us about what time banks are, and more specifically, what is the NOLA TimeBank. Welcome, Gretchen.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to sit down, if you don't mind. I hope I can see everyone. The NOLA TimeBank is very, very new, and so we're kind of in the process of getting going. Although we already have about 120 members that have signed up online at nolatimebank.org, the website that I put up there. But what I kind of wanted to start is find out, has anyone in the room heard of time banking or had any experience with the time bank? Okay.
I've heard of it through an email.
Okay. So what's your name?
Eugene Gray.
Eugene?
Yes.
And you're on the time bank email list?
I was going to occupy those lists. I think Jordan sent an email out about it. That's how I heard about it.
Oh, okay. So did you go to the website or anything? You just heard about it?
I was at work.
Oh, okay. You didn't do your homework for tonight? I'm so disappointed. Okay, I know, Anna, you're a member. So.
Occupy New Orleans, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you done any exchanges with the time bank yet? Or?
Not yet. I arrived in New Orleans this past July.
Okay.
I'm still getting acquaintance to the city. I'm still discovering the city and finding out what's going on, but I'm pretty sure I'll have a chance to participate in the time bank.
I don't mean to be checking up on people. I just, instead of having me stand up here and give a monologue that I haven't written, I would rather, kind of see what kind, facilitate discussion versus just talk. And I'm sorry, what's your name in the red?
Delia.
Delia. Hi.
Yeah, I've done time exchanges in the past, but not officially like this. We're so organized. But there was something on, I think, NPR recently that I was really pleased to hear about. I guess you know about that report, because they were interviewing someone who was a nurse or something, and she was just talking about how she was able, I forgot what she was trading, something maybe with child care or something that was helping her to make ends meet, because salary wasn't paying for everything. So I was excited to hear that, but I didn't know about NOLA Bank until it was, I think Jordan mentioned it, on our movement group. So yeah, that's exciting. But I did go to the website and started to sign up.
Yay!
I said, well, because I wanted to study it, look at it some more and figure out what I was signing up for, because I just saw the calendar and I was going, I think you just sign up, available anytime. But anyway, it's wonderful. I'm really glad to know that it's already available.
Yeah, it's, we got started in September, and it's actually, I was involved in a time bank in Los Angeles, the Echo Park Time Bank. So, and my husband and I moved here over the summer, and then through a mutual friend, because I was surprised there wasn't a time bank here. I was on the steering committee in Echo Park, and it was a great, experience. People helped me move. It was a good experience. And so when I came to New Orleans, I was like, oh, there's not one here. But then a mutual friend of the person that started the one in Echo Park has lived here since the 90s, and so together we thought, well, let's do it. So it's really only a few months old, and that's probably why you haven't heard of it. And I guess where to start? Can I just ask me questions?
I
That's
have
easier.
a place for someone like myself
Okay.
who's totally ignorant
Okay.
and has just an intuition from the
Uh-huh.
name. I don't even know what a time bank is in general. I really.
Okay, well, the idea is that you spend time doing something that you can do. You list the services. So say you love to cook, you're willing to cook for people. So you say, I'll cook you dinner, it takes me 2 hours, and you get credit. You get hour credits for every hour you spend doing a service for someone else. And we log it. Here, this is a website that if you went to member login, or if you went to join the time bank, it takes you, let's say you're a member, then you go to this interface, and once you're a member, there's all kinds of services. They offer and request, you can put little ads there. Like, what are the services you would offer, and what are the services you might want from other people in the group? And then you can respond, and it's basically, you're just exchanging time. An hour is worth an hour, whether you're doing yard work for someone, whether you're performing a wedding, doing housekeeping, everybody's hour is equal. And after you do your service exchange, you log it in your account and keep track of your hours. So it's basically just getting completely and totally away from anything that's coordinated to dollar value. I mean, in Echo Park, we had a midwife, we had a chiropractor, but sometimes what you really need is someone to come and feed your cat, And an hour is an hour, whether you're feeding a cat or whether you're giving someone a chiropractic adjustment. So it's, yeah.
I'm just gonna move over here so I don't get too loud into the mic. I just joined about 3 days ago, and I've got an offer on there for computer repair services and videography and photography.
Oh, great.
Yep.
You know what I said?
I went in to look around for research to know how to set up for this. And it was such a fascinating idea, I decided to join.
Well, in fact, I was going to mention to you, we'd like to have a video to put on the website. So
Yeah,
you
anybody
can earn
in the room is
our
welcome to
credits
a
that
copy.
way by making a video for the
Yeah.
time bank.
Yeah, it's not a profit project, it's just a donation, I'm helping out.
Well, the thing about the time bank is that it's not like volunteer work, because you get something back because everyone gives and everyone receives. So it's kind of a different, there's a different feeling than these are the volunteers and these are the people that receive volunteer work. It's like everybody gives, everyone receives. The gentleman that started time banks, and it's an idea that there's a huge one in Barcelona. There are time banks in Europe. It's an idea that is not unique to one person. But Time Banks USA, the organization that we get the software from, and it's a kind of, we pay them some dues to be part of this network and use the software. It was started by a man named Edgar Kahn, and he's an attorney in Washington, D.C., and it happened in the 1980s. He did legal aid. And under Reagan, all his funding got cut, and he thought the community would come to his rescue somehow, and people just didn't seem to come forward. So he went to all the different churches and community groups and said, I will perform legal aid services, but I want the people that get these services to have to repay the community. So they're going to have to go do forever how many hours they get legal aid. They're going to, you know, I want to partner with you so that people can do work in the community. And he found as soon as he switched to that different format, that all of a sudden the community really embraced his legal aid committee, clinic, and it just, the whole dynamic kind of switched. So, he wrote a book called No Throwaway People, and he's a wonderful man. Yeah, and that's kind of the birth of TimeBanks USA. So, and the website for the TimeBanks USA is just timebanks.org. Let's see. So I'm trying to think of what else. It's really a simple concept. Yeah.
How do you create hours? Because who's there to come with you? Can you arbitrarily say that, oh, this task took 4 hours when actually this took 30 minutes?
Well, you could, if you wanted to. Well, there's two parties. There's the people that offer the service and the people that receive the service. So, and both of those accounts are affected when you do the transaction. So if you arrange, say somebody has, like I have one, my mom has Alzheimer's. So one thing I get is a lot of elder care help. So if someone says, okay, I'm going to come and play puzzles with your mom for an hour, and if they go home and log in 3 hours, then I notice. I mean, I'd say, hey, why'd you take 3 hours? We agreed on 1 hour. I don't think you were here 3 hours. I mean, it's, and there also, we have coordinators, and the coordinators see the transaction, so if something seemed kind of weird, like they were, the thing that's funny, and a lot of people say, you know, what if people like take more hours? It's kind of like, okay, if you feel you really need those hours, it's, you know, the hours, they mean, it's just a vehicle, but they don't really mean anything. You know what I mean?
Nobody's losing anything, right?
Well, the person that you're doing the service for, it would come out of their account. But also, if you're like, I started, well, so I got here in September, and Marcel is like, oh, we should start this thing. This is great. Our friend Autumn, we love it. And I said, I can't do that because we're doing all this renovation on the house that we bought, and I have to paint the whole inside of the house. I told my husband, oh yeah, I can do all that painting, in addition to watching my mom. And I was overwhelmed. And so we're talking, I'm like, well, this is perfect. If I can build the TimeBank website, I can start doing some organizing, but we need to get people over here to help paint. So I had like 6 people that I had never met before in this new city that I just moved to show up, and we got like a lot of painting done. I think I got maybe 20 or 30 hours of painting, and a couple people that were like professional contractors came. So I was like, yeah, that's, sorry, yeah?
What if one person is in need of a skill that is widely offered in the TimeBank and needs that skill a lot for several hours, but the skills that the person has to offer are not in high demand within the TimeBank?
Well, I guess this is kind of the problem of like, why aren't there more plumbers in the TimeBank? Mm-hmm. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about? Yes. Is like, and you know, I guess my response to that is, the TimeBank is really about, it's about community building, it's about neighbors helping neighbors, it's not professional service bureau. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's not going to be some, I mean, there's no one, I mean, we don't have a plumber there right now. And you can't, it would be nice if there's somebody who felt handy with plumbing and signed up, but you know, the way we look at it is maybe if somebody takes you to the airport and you don't have to leave your car at the airport or pay that. I mean, you know, maybe there are some other ways that you can save money, and that way you can hire a plumber. I mean, there's no fee to join the TimeBank. Everybody is welcome. We have a member page to read that you should be upfront about your level of expertise. I mean, I like to rewire lamps, but I'm not a licensed electrician. So I let people know I can probably fix your lamp, but you know, and so and when you're asking someone to do something for you, you need to ask about their level of expertise and find out if, you know, is that what you're comfortable with?
Yes, but what if the skills that we have to offer to the TimeBank are not in high demand?
Well then, I mean, everybody has something they can do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, there's offers and requests. So maybe you put an offer that nobody seems to be interested in, but you look at the requests and you say, oh, you know, there is something that I hadn't even thought of that people need that I can do. So it's kind of like, yeah.
So I'm just curious, is the IRS looking at this at all yet?
And that's a very good question. And TimeBanks USA does have a letter from the IRS, and it is not barter. Because barter is like, you know, you often with barter, okay, I'm a graphic artist and I want $50 an hour, and you're a house painter and you get $12 an hour, so I want you to paint and there's this dollar equivalent, and you're also assuming that both parties have something the other person wants. But with the TimeBank, we never equate it with money. It's like an hour is an hour. So your hour of graphic arts equals an hour of, you know, house painting, equals an hour of gardening, equals an hour of legal aid or whatever. An hour is always an hour. And since it's a pay it forward kind of situation, you can't cash out your hours. You can't say, hey, I'm up to 60 hours, I want to leave and cash out. So since it's never equated with money, they can't tax it.
But they did try, you said they received.
Well, barter situations, and there are, has anyone ever heard of like Ithaca hours, or there are communities, actually someone told me the lower Ninth Ward had their own money in the Depression. I don't know, have you ever heard?
No,
It's like what? Their own money. It's Ithaca hours is the most is the one. I think I told my husband I would send him a text when I got here, and then I didn't. Where communities get together and they decide to have their own money, and there are stores that will take it and they'll pay. Oh, there's one in the Columbia Gorge where the local, and it's kind of a way. I don't know if the farmers markets do it.
You can do a web search on this, but there's a huge movement in Germany for local currencies. And there are all kinds of things going on with alternate currencies that are getting very big, but they're not what you're talking about at all.
Because the alternate currencies, they translate into a dollar amount, and the IRS looks at those transactions as taxable. So if it's like if you have a store and you say, okay, I'll accept our local currency and I'm going to pay my employees in a portion in those local currency because I know they can use it in our community, which is a great thing. But there's a dollar equivalent, and the IRS looks at those as all, you have to look at it as real money and pay taxes on it. But the TimeBank, there's never an equivalent dollar amount. It's always an hour. And so they're not taxable, yeah.
But for example, a person can only benefit from an hour from the TimeBank after giving an hour, right?
And that's actually not true at all, because I am the perfect example of someone that started at minus 30.
Minus 30.
Because I had all those people come pay my house. And I got out of it, but, you know.
Okay, but, yeah, I'm sorry, but then how does the system make sure that actually the people who take those hours will also give back the same amount?
And it's, you know, we have coordinators, we can rank people and see if they're plus or minus, how many exchanges they've had, how much they've given, how much they've taken back. But the truth of the matter is we're not, you know, if somebody seems to just be sponging it in and not doing anything back, then I'm sure we'd have a conversation with them. But any exchange is a good exchange, because even if you're minus, somebody else is plus.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're not, if you were sick and you needed to use the TimeBank for help until you were well, we're going to say fine. I mean, that's great. That's what it's there for. Okay, I think the gentleman in the glasses, and then your question, and I don't know if you had a question too,
Well,
John.
it's similar, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, when you're in negatives, do you get charged interest though?
No, actually, there's not. We're just, yeah. There's what?
There's no penalty?
There's no penalty.
All right.
We would rather have everyone be minus, although that would be impossible, but we'd rather have 50% of the people be minus, because that would mean that they were using the TimeBank, and that the other 50% are positive, and it's just the idea is to use it. And giving and receiving are equally important. And if it's, like I said, if we saw a situation where we felt like someone was really abusing it, we would talk to them. But I was on the committee in Los Angeles for 3 years, and we never had anyone that just seemed like they were taking, and didn't want to give back. There's actually more people offering than requesting. People like, if that makes sense. So, and did you have a question?
Yeah, well, I was just curious if, because I haven't been to the website, I'm just curious if people have profiles, because then,
you know, they
like
do.
If there were okay, so.
Let me show you. Oh, I'll show you. And this is actually, my mom has an account, and this is my mom's account. Okay, because somebody offered elder care, so we request, yeah. Let's go to, here's all the members. Okay, well, look at this, is my husband's, he hasn't been there in 12 weeks. So, so there's a profile, because when you log in, when you join, it's going to ask you questions to fill out your profile. And you have a choice if you want to put your picture on there or not, what neighborhood, a little bit. There, he's got an offer but not a request. So those are the kinds of...
Because the reason I ask is that if your hour usage is publicly available, then people would see if someone was free riding on the community, then the rest of the community would realize that someone has negative 150 hours, then if they request more hours from someone, you would see that and you'd say, I'm sorry, I'm going to pass. But if on that profile they said, like, my mother's in the hospital, I really need the help at this point, then you might, you think the community would say, yeah, of course they need help, and we can give it to them. And also in terms of like the expertise, like, or it just seems like, I don't know, it's just from like other websites that'd be, you know, if other people could comment like, Joan came over and did a great job like working on my car or something like that, the way you could,
like a feedback.
yeah, just the more like channels of information, it would, I don't know, it seems like it would be.
Yeah, it's the, well, first of all, if anyone is good at Drupal, they can earn lots of time credits working on our website.
Oh.
I don't know. I have to put that out there everywhere I go. Anyone know Drupal? There's a lot of discussion about having a feedback session because that could be good, but it's also, we don't want to, I mean, we want to keep it really positive. So what we do is we have at least monthly get-togethers, because if you've met somebody face-to-face versus just like a profile on the computer, then you have a chance to talk, you have a chance to know them, and then, you know, it's easier to make the exchanges. So that's, I don't know, and you can ask people, say, did you do this for someone else? I mean, mostly it's just like communicating up front so everyone's got the same expectation of what will happen on the exchange. Yeah.
Okay, so it's fairly dependent the way it's been used on the website, right? And, so what about working in lower income communities where maybe there isn't as much access to the internet, or
Yeah, no, and we've one of our our second meeting was at the Lower Ninth Ward Village, and we do have several TimeBank members that don't have computers, so we do kind of a computer buddy system, and that buddy will just use the phone, and you check in, and you can log in for them and say, okay, you know, your ad for this, somebody responded, you know, and we just do it telephone. But we have, yeah, I mean, I think we have about 4 people offline right now, and so we just team them up with a computer buddy, and hopefully, I mean, there are people in the neighborhood too, you know, that are geographically closer to, although I have a computer buddy who's kind of across there, but yeah, so we.
Wondering, because we're doing neighborhood outreaches now, this would be something really good to be telling people about and developing these buddy systems and explaining.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. We really don't want it to be exclusively for people that have computers, but the computer just makes it so easy to track, and that it's so yeah. But that's how we deal with that, so that everybody can participate.
And how often do you meet in person?
We try to have a meeting once a month. I believe that our February meeting's not going to be till after Mardi Gras, and it will be probably in the Bywater, but I'm not sure exactly where. And we do it in different places in town. We've done Mid-City to, you know, different, and we try to do them, and we don't do it like a set night, because some people, weekends are good, some people, so we've had our meetings on the weekends or during the week, and last month we were at UNO on a weekday lunchtime. But I would encourage anyone that wants to be on our email list. Oh, we also have a Facebook page too. You can do NOLA TimeBank and find the Facebook page and join, and we'll often post what we're doing there. Because we'll have our own get-togethers, but a lot of times we try to get together with partner organizations, because you know, we are really new, and then you get kind of a nucleus like the UNO Student Service Coalition. We kind of partner with them. The Lower Ninth Ward Village, we kind of partner with them. So that's, yeah.
I have a couple questions. One thing that was sort of implied in some of the comments was maybe if it gets big, that all kinds of problems would come. I was wondering how big the group in Los Angeles was. You said in 3 years they're running. Is it fairly big there?
Well, it's actually, it's in Los Angeles, we charged people and they had to have references, and it only got up to about 400 members. And here, we don't ask for references and we don't charge, because we want to make it super duper accessible and get everybody, you know, have no barriers to being involved. So we're at about 120 members right now. Madison, Wisconsin, there's a Dane County TimeBank, and they have about 1,900 members. And you end up, then each neighborhood kind of has its own little steering committee. I mean, because ideally, you want everyone on your street, because that would be great if someone that help you out is right next door. And they, you know,
they don't have problems with some people doing a lot and some doing none. It usually works out.
You know, the same people that do a lot just always do a lot, everything they do. You know, there's some people that do a lot and some that really, if you're going to take advantage of people, I mean, this is really, there's better ways to take advantage of people. People like that.
You can't run off with 1,000,000 hours.
Exactly. It's like, woohoo! You scored.
I have one other little question. I was just wondering how detailed this bookkeeping is. Is it to the nearest hour or 15 minutes, or is it the exact number of minutes?
You can round, the software lets you round off to 15 minutes.
Okay.
We say round off to a half. And most of the time, it's like one of the women that came and painted, and she's a painting contractor, and I had more questions afterwards. So I called her on the phone because, you know, I was trying to get the latex laying off the floor and blah, blah, blah. And so she talked to me for probably 15, 20 minutes on the phone. And I hadn't said, hey, I want to talk to you and I'm going to pay you time credit for this. But after we talked, I thought, you know, that was really helpful. And she really spent time. So I just credit her for a half an hour. I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, yeah, I didn't even. And it's funny because as you become friends, sometimes people don't want to. It's like, oh, we're friends, you don't have to pay me any. And it's like, no, we want, the more exchanges that happen, the healthier the TimeBank is, so we want you to. Yeah.
So I had a question about, last time I heard Marcella talking about the TimeBank, and she said that you could get credits directly from the bank for certain events. Like for instance, I spent some time, you know, trying to organize for this group. But it wouldn't make much sense for me to say credit myself 20 hours from everyone else, or you know, if it took me 1 hour to do this, you know, then, like how does that work out exactly?
And actually, there is there's a way that you can do exchanges for one to many and many to one, because if you were going to give a class, say a yoga class, subtle hint. I want a TimeBank yoga class, but you've got 10 people in your class, and say you spend maybe a half an hour preparing for the class, and then you spend an hour teaching the class, and then you take a half an hour in cleaning up. So really you spend 2 hours giving that class, but 10 people came, and so they pay in each an hour for taking the hour class, but you receive 2 hours for the 2 hours you spent. And I'm not quite sure where the extra 8 hours goes, but the software is set up to deal with those situations, because the other TimeBanks that I'm aware of, they often do those sorts of things where you have classes or group events.
But couldn't, say only one of the people who showed up to the class was in the TimeBank, you'd be providing services as a gift to most of the people who showed up. And then, like, see, easier way with this?
Yeah.
Like, you can provide services to people who are not members of the TimeBank, or, you know, there's no way of logging those hours, but then still receive hour credits for what you've done, right? Like, just by receiving an hour, essentially, just from the bank, bank just takes an hour.
And because there is, a TimeBank account that, like, when you volunteer for the TimeBank and you do stuff for the TimeBank, and it's like way minus, and that's fine. I guess I would, if you were teaching the class for our credits, I kind of encourage people to join up. I mean, you believe in it, you're doing it, they should be part of it too. But I mean, it's just kind of up to the person
And by the way, I think there is a yoga class. Have you heard of the New Orleans Free School Network?
I have.
Yes, I was hoping that we could get some people from there to come here, and it would be great to have some kind of partnership, but they scheduled their teachers potluck.
The same night. I know, I'm on their email list, and I haven't done anything. Yeah, but have you taught classes with the free school?
Yeah, and I plan to again.
Excellent.
In fact, this is kind of a class. It's listed as a class.
Okay.
Our series of discussions are a class.
Okay. No, I signed up for the email list, but I haven't participated in anything, but it seems like a really great thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know if I could just maybe mention it, that if anybody wants to get in touch, I'm sure Jordan could help me, or I could. But, you know, we're looking for people to offer classes or attend. It's a great project, New Orleans Free School Network, it's called. And there are a number of courses running right now. The February schedule just came out. So. it would be great to have some collaboration on that.
No, I would like to do that. So that, yeah, Marcella is the mutual friend from California. So Marcella and I are kind of the main steering people right now, but we are looking to expand. No, yeah.
But you can actually do a search just with the name, and it's easy to find.
Yeah.
New Orleans
No,
preschool.
yeah. Do you want me to put something up there or no? I mean, I'm on the email list for the preschool, so I was
Yeah, you
looking
can
at
do
the
it, or I can
classes.
do it.
You don't mean the school that called itself?
No, that was called the New Orleans Free School.
Right.
This is the New Orleans Free School Network, which is a community education project. Right there, just in case anybody is engaged.
Okay. So,
By the
Or
way, the
does-
free school needs volunteers for posting the calendars around town, if anyone's interested.
more questions.
You have some videos, don't you?
Yeah, do you
So
want me-
maybe
let
that
me
would stimulate
play,
more
okay.
discussion.
My personal hero right here is Edgar Kahn. I don't see how to jumble this up.
When
Too little.
I hear an
I'm going to just go to YouTube and comments. So this, I'm going to play the video of Edgar Kahn talking about the TimeBank. Oh, no, that's nice, nice. I'm back. He's all about the kind of the philosophy of it versus just kind of the practical, the way it works. Oh, it does not like YouTube apparently. This is embarrassing.
Yeah, maybe that's what's causing it.
I was gonna go to the TimeBanks USA. They have that same video. But yeah, oh, what I was talking about was the Dane County in Madison with 1,900 people. They run a youth court. They run energy greening, all these different programs where people, like the youth court, then the young people get in the TimeBank and serve. Their sentences are often being on youth court for other offenders, and they're like in every high school in Madison. Let's see. I'll look for.
You want the lights down?
Sorry?
I'm not sure what you're doing.
No, I
Oh,
thought
you're
that,
asking.
I was going to ask a question.
Oh, I thought you wanted the lights on. I wasn't sure what.
Okay.
Which we could do if it works.
Oh, I see what's going on.
Is that loud enough? I don't know how to make it louder.
You want to get it louder on there? There's a volume control there too.
Right here?
There's another.
That's the thing about the TimeBank I liked about it, that we're all in it. Yeah.
Oh, volume, right here. Did I turn it off? I shouldn't touch that thing.
Actually, there's a problem that if you touch it too, like
Too
try to
hard.
make it go up too quickly, it's done that before, unfortunately, and we may have to start.
Okay, don't help, Gretchen.
Do y'all need lights?
I'm going to make volume go up before we
Okay.
change it. And I almost told you, because we've had that problem before. I'm really sorry. But this is a good system, but it's very delicate.
Temperamental. Oh dear. So, unfortunately, I did not bring a sign-up list, but since my email's up there, anyone that wants to be on the email list, just send me an email. Or if you want to give me, if you want to give me your email, make sure you get on the email list. And of course, if you sign up and you're a member, then you're automatically going to get the emails.
So I don't need to send you one if I sign up?
If you sign up and you're a member, then you don't need to send me one. Because you'll get, there's inside the TimeBank software, there's a way to send messages and back and forth, because actually your profile does not have your address and your phone number and your email. Just because it is, anybody can join and make a profile, so we don't kind of give everyone's information to everyone. And you need, if you want to set up an exchange, you send the message through the TimeBank software. It's called Community Weaver, is the name of the web-based software that runs the TimeBank. So, yeah, so you sign up and you put your services and your requests, you see something you're interested in, and you send the message through the Community Weaver software. You don't have their phone number or their email address unless they email you back. Some people in their ads put their phone number because they just don't want to deal with getting messages from Community Weaver, which is fine, but we figure we want you to volunteer to do that, not us have it all out there. But we do, when you sign up, we also send you a separate email that comes from me and Marcella, so that you do have a phone number and an email address if you have any problems.
So we put this back to the beginning?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's enough
You know
value.
what? But this is actually not the video I was thinking
Oh,
of.
really? Uh-oh, another problem.
Oh, good.
Let's see if we can make the
And there's,
volume.
we'll pay hour credits for people that want to be presenters.
That's the thing about the TimeBank I like the best, that we're all in it together.
But it's,
Seems like it's a growing giant family.
it is nice. We do have people of all
Interesting,
ages and
yeah.
people from all over the city.
There's a problem with the volume. I just very
Okay.
gently tried to increase it, and even increasing it just a little. It must have short-circuited, so I'm going to have to let this warm up again. Why don't you find the other one while it's doing that? It should be on in a minute.
We're getting this all on video, right?
That's good. This is going to be a great video.
Are
If
these
you
on
don't
the
want
website?
TimeBanking is-
Are the videos on the website?
Yeah.
It's a video's a website.
Because this is the one that I really like. That's Edgar Kahn talking. Oh, but you guys can't see it because that's not warmed up. But I wanted to make it jumbo, and I'm not able to do that. So I thought it was on here. So I need more like really difficult questions.
Are y'all thinking about doing an actual alternative currency as well to supplement the service end for something for exchanging goods as well?
You know, I love the idea of alternative currencies. I think I would participate if somebody else did it. Just kind of getting the TimeBank going on its own is.
That's the thing about the TimeBank I like the best, that we're all in it together.
Seems like it's a growing giant family.
It's a wonderful way to live in this world because everybody's talents are valued, and I think it's the way that we need to learn to live.
I was helping the bridesmaid's dress being fitted. I was able to alter the dress, and she participated in some of it by tearing some of the top apart with me. and then she was present when I assembled it all. It was just a really, really good collaboration, and the dress turned out absolutely beautiful.
It's also been a nice way to mix generational skills. I really think that that's great because we have a lot to teach each other.
I put mine in for quilting, and lo and behold, there was a young girl who had been looking for about a year and a half for someone to show her how to put her maternity T-shirts together in a quilt. So she contacted me, and then the rest is history.
The gentleman playing bridge, he has some computer expertise, and the couple are pretty shy, and they don't let a lot of, they're not free about letting people in their homes, but someone gave them a newer computer than the one they had, and they had gotten so comfortable with Joe that they asked him to go ahead and fix their computer, and I don't think that would have ever happened had we not been playing bridge and build up some level of trust among each other.
And as a result of that, I started making connections with my neighbors on my own street.
One fellow called me back in a day or so and said, "I'm ready, what do you need?" And it's miraculous because I can't afford to pay somebody.
In time banking, they've already offered it, and so you don't feel so bad asking. And you're able to relax and enjoy the fact that they are enjoying giving. You can see the excitement in their eyes when they're sharing some knowledge that they have, and you don't have to think about what you owe to them.
What I love about the Time Bank is the equality of it all. I just love that, in our Time Bank, a lawyer will make a will for you, and you can get a will by cutting someone else's grass. I just love the idea that everybody's equal and everybody chips in, and I think it's just fantastic.
There's a breadth of things that I've done for other people and that other people have done for me that is just wonderful.
It's a currency of caring. So if it's changing a diaper or baking a cake or digging a ditch or sweeping a floor, it's all work and it deserves to be recorded and rewarded.
I feel that one human hour of one individual is as much worth as another human hour.
I just love the idea that everybody's equal and everybody chips in.
As a result of that, I started making connections with my neighbors on my own street.
It's a wonderful way to live in this world because everybody's talents are valued, and I think it's the way that we need to learn to live.
When I hear an introduction like that, I'm grateful that it's short, because the longer introductions begin to sound like obituaries. I remember when I was nominated for Ashoka, I wrote Bill Drayton, do you have some age limit, or am I going to be your geriatric Ashoka fellow? And he wrote back saying, no, but you're going to have to come. You can't just keep doing what you've been doing. You've got to come up with something new. And I wrote him back saying, I don't think that's going to be a problem because I haven't figured out yet what I'm going to do when I grow up. I'm hoping to learn one day, but not any day soon. I am going to tell you, though, about what I think is a different kind of social entrepreneurship and a different kind of social enterprise, because I need to explain to you that when we think about economics, we're in fact looking at only part of the map. I didn't know whether we'd have whether we'd be able to get this up here, so I brought my own high-tech piece. And I'm simply going to say that if this is an economic map and you want to get from here to there, it's probably not too smart to tear off a third of it. because you're not going to get there. And all of our economic planning omits at least a third of the map, at least, according to even Nobel Prize winner Gary Becker and some other folks. It omits an economy that I think you need to be aware of. It's the one you go home to each night. It's called home, family, neighborhood, community, civil society. It probably doesn't do anything very important from the point of the GDP, gross domestic product. It just raises children, makes neighborhoods safe and vibrant, raises strong families, takes care of the elderly, gets involved in things like elections, tries to make democracy work, tries to hold officials accountable, fights for social justice, tries to keep the planet sustainable, but nothing of economic importance, you understand. And so the first proposition I have to say to you is that we need to understand that there is a core economy, that there's a core economy that is fundamental. It's so fundamental, I'm going to ask you to think about it with an analogy of a computer. We have on a computer screen all of these powerful icons that are very powerful, specialized programs. But all of us know, whether it's Windows or Linux or whatever, that underlying those powerful programs is an operating system. That operating system goes down, nothing works. Programs crash. Well, our monetary system runs those powerful, specialized programs. But the core operating system is family, neighborhood, community, civil society, networks, informal support systems. And if we don't rebuild that economy, we're in trouble. And folks, we're in trouble. Because that old economy, to a degree that we never really admitted or acknowledged, was in fact subsidized by labor exacted from the subordination of women, the exploitation of minorities, the exploitation of immigrants, and in many nations, the exploitation of children. And as we move forward, hopefully with progress, we're going to have to rebuild an operating system that does these minor things like raise children, keep neighborhoods safe, make democracy work, and fight for social justice. We're going to have to find a way to rebuild that operating system, that core economy. And that's what the new social enterprise system is really about. So that's the first proposition. We've got to be aware of that whole economy. The second proposition I want to put to you is that most notions of entrepreneurship involve I create something, maybe it's a new light bulb, maybe it's an organic food product, maybe it's something that feeds off of solar, and I sell it to you. Well, the bad news is that you can create and sell and deliver something like pizza. You can create and deliver packages, but you cannot create and deliver by unilateral delivery systems health, education, welfare, community, justice, or democracy. Those involve a fundamentally different relationship with the people whom you're, quote, helping. In fact, you can't do it if you do not enlist them as co-workers and co-producers of the outcomes you're seeking to achieve. And the question is, how do you enlist them? Because it's going to take a very different system from the ones that we're used to creating, the ones that we're used to thinking in terms of bottom line and profit margins and so forth. Because I'm going to say the third proposition I want to tell you is that we're going to have to create a new kind of what I'll call a social Prius, something that runs on two kinds of fuel. It's going to run on a thin stream of money, but it's going to run on a large stream of psychic energy. Now, that psychic energy may be conscience, it may be compassion. In my culture, it's guilt, but nonetheless, but it's going to run on something other than just money alone. And there's a reason for that. Money operates on one value system. We're clear on that. It defines value by price. Price defines value by supply and demand. So if it's scarce, it's valuable. If it's more abundant, it's cheaper. If it's really abundant, it's either dirt cheap or it's worthless. And I suddenly realized, looking at that, that means that everything that defines you and me as human beings is worthless. Every fundamental capacity that has enabled our species to survive, we've defined by our economic system, by our monetary system, as worthless. Our ability to care for each other, to come to each other's rescue, to grieve, to stand together, to help each other with birthing, all of the fundamental things, to come together and make small decisions or big decisions in small groups, to stand up for what's right, to oppose what's wrong, all of those fundamental capacities that we as a species need in order to survive, we've defined by our economic system as worthless. So we're going to have to create a social Prius that operates on both kinds of fuel, both kinds of energy, and both kinds of value systems. That's why I created another currency, because I couldn't figure out, and that's the time credit currency, but then where ours were all viewed as equal, and that's now spread to 32 countries. But I'm going to simply say that if we don't begin to understand that without building new kinds of social inventions, we won't get there, and if we don't enlist and start to value and find a way to value the work of those whom we're asking to co-produce those outcomes with us, the world will be divided, as it tends to be now, between paid staff and volunteers. And sooner or later, the volunteers get ticked off, okay? And sooner or later, there's a toxic reality to that in terms of anybody who's trying to build community. And until we begin to find a way to build a different kind of reward system and honor and value and validate that, we're going to have to find we're going to have to either have lots of money coming down like manna from heaven, and even then there won't be enough, because that money will devalue, that pricing system will devalue the most essential labor that we need. So we're going to have to build a new operating system, and that's going to take some new algorithms. The first algorithm it's going to have to take is we're going to have to start redefining what we mean by assets, so that the mothers who were part of the birthing project, they have value. I remember a senior saying to me when I started doing this work, I asked, why were you depressed? Your children just left, they were happy, your adult children, your grandchildren are doing beautifully. She said, I have nothing left to give but love. I thought, how can we have a system where that's a nothing, as if that's not the most precious thing we have to offer? The second thing we're going to have to redefine is what we honor as work. The market does not value caring labor, mentoring labor, civic engagement, social justice labor, environmental labor, or cultural labor. We're going to have to find ways because it takes work to do all of those things, we're going to have to find a way in building social enterprises to value the kind of work that the market doesn't value. Alvin Toffler, who's a friend, called me up one day and said, Edgar, I get the point. He said, I explained this to the CEOs and executives of Fortune 500 companies in this way. He said, I asked them how productive their workforce would be if they were not toilet trained. They get the point. The third algorithm we're going to have to write into this new operating system that we're building, this new core economy, I call it reciprocity. Some people call it mutuality, some people call it pay it forward. When I and my late wife were the creators of the Legal Service Program, and we were fighting for its survival in the mid-90s, we had helped 100 million households through different legal service programs. Not a one turned up for that fight. And I thought, we may be doing good, but doing good does not create a constituency for justice. How do we create a constituency for justice with all this work that we're doing? And I said to myself, we've got to ask people to pay it forward, to give back. And so I did that. I went back to the law school where I had a clinic, and I charged, I entered into retainers with ministers from churches and from other places and from public housing, and I charged the clients an hour of my time for an hour of their time, and they went back to their church. When the law school was in trouble, who turns up but those ministers, those congregants in those public housing complexes, and says, you mess with our law school, you won't be here next year. We've had no problem with funding ever since. Now, I'm simply going to say that we don't begin to value, we don't look through a lens that sees the value of the people whom we're, quote, trying to help. I can tell you we run a youth court in Washington, D.C. that handles 70% of all the nonviolent crime by juveniles. It's teenagers who sit on the jury talking to other teenagers. I made the breakthrough discovery of knowledge that kids don't listen to adults. I know I'm the first person to ever discover that. And it finally took me 30 years to persuade the judges, after they had put over 54% of all African American males in Washington, D.C. in prison or parole or probation, that maybe that they were running a feeder system that they didn't want to keep running. So I said to them, why don't you let the kids have a chance? The kids have reduced recidivism by over 50%. Every Saturday, they're handling 20 to 30 cases right here in the courthouse in Washington, D.C. In Chicago, Illinois, we took 5th and 6th graders because I made the amazing discovery that kids don't want to raise their hand and look like they're smart for their teachers because they're afraid of peer ostracism. But I also made the discovery, I know that you don't know, that kids will do anything for praise from an older kid. So we took the 5th and 6th graders who were special ed, ADD, and we had them tutoring the kids after school. Suddenly attendance went up, truancy went down, fighting went down, test scores went up, and we literally got the schools off of academic probation. So it's a matter of how do we begin to look in prisons in Scotland and in England now. People in prison are earning time dollars that they give to their families in the towns that they're in, creating recycling bicycles for Africa, or just sitting there because they've been taught by the Good Samaritans to listen. I want you to know that basically we need to start looking at a different lens. You take 3 people who have returned from prison, you put them on a certain street corner, they can guarantee safe passage for any kid through any gang territory in Washington, D.C. We need to look through the lens of possibility. Now, I've been looking through that lens for a long time. I must admit I had a genetic advantage. I was born with a twin sister, so I never even had the womb to myself. But we need to understand that we are interdependent, that there's no way around that interdependence, and that we ought to value that as one of our great strengths and one of our great resources. I'm simply going to say that while the young may lead the revolution, you have 7,918 people passing the age of 60 each and every day for the next 18 years. So maybe there's a resource that you can tap into and use, because most of them don't want to spend the rest of their lives playing golf, I think. I think we need to ask ourselves 2 questions. Why are we here? And what kind of a world do we want to leave behind? I remember when I started this, Father Fahey had just become the head of Catholic Charities, and he had started what he called the College for the Third Age. We have to keep learning. We have to keep growing. You've heard that before, but new discoveries show that the mind does not freeze in place, that it's plastic, and it can keep learning and keep growing and keep being vital. I'm hoping to for a long, long time to come. In any event, Father Fahey said, I have good news for you and bad news for you, and I can wrap it up in one sentence, in one statement. We have no money, all we have is each other. To me, that's good news. That represents that we have true abundance. Thank you very much.